Welcome to part 2 of my 5, I think, part series on the process of making this cute doodle wrapping paper in Substance Designer. In this part, I'll go through the next 3 patterns. So let's just jump right in. Pattern 3 is the following. It's really quick. Look at it, look at it. Okay, the node we are going to use, which is something that I practically never use. We'll leave it at default for pretty much everything. Just going to play around with this. I think everything else is fine the way it is. And then I will take this and I'll do a little edge detect. And it looks nothing like what I want it to look like. Take the edge width down to 140. First of all, I think edge roundness just needs to get its butt out of here. A little bit, I feel like a little bit is okay. Oh. Yeah, that looks cool. I like it. Okay. Now, what I want to do, bevel. Okay, right. So what I want is the triangles, and I still want the line between the triangles to exist. So I need to create that line. Like right now, I only have the triangle shape, and I want another triangle shape inside of it. So to do that, I'm going to bevel again like I did up top, and not like this, but more like teensy little bevel. I am now going to be able to actually go as small as I want to go. I want it to be very small. Okay, that. And I think everything else is fine. Then I'm going to do a histogram select where I only want to take the whitest parts, and I want to range. That's fine actually, because this would be basically it cuts the triangles smaller, and then I can use this one on top of it. Okay, that should work. We'll see if it's okay then. Oopsie. What we want, probably, once again, just gonna click through until I find what I want. This is what I want. And I want to convert it though. And then we're gonna do the warp again. Warp. I'll just reuse that. And I'm going to warp with a very small number. We're gonna look at it at the before and the after. Well, okay, sorry, the before and the after. It's pretty big warp. Maybe I should, what's this, 32? Never mind, I'll do it. Another one. Woo! We'll do, instead of 32, we'll go up to 40. So it's a smaller warp. Okay, I'm good. And this is the output of pattern 3. And we shall frame and call it pattern 3. And here we go to the next pattern. Well, hello there. This is Sydney from the future. Past Sydney messed up the next part, so I'm going to do pattern number 4. Again, correctly. I am here to rectify the situation. And let's get to it. We're making the following pattern. It's kind of a mandala type thing with a bunch of little crisscross lines. The idea here is to use a shape mapper to map a cube that has stripes in different directions. So for this, we're going to start with, who would have guessed it, cube. Cube 3D. Let's get in here a little bit closer. How about that? Okay, so we want to make this a little bit, turn it a little bit because for some reason I struggled with this not being turned. You'll see, because I'm going to put it through an edge detect to actually get the shape of the cube, but just the edges. And when it was just in the middle, it didn't work for some reason. So we'll do that. Then we'll scale it on the Y, but then scale the entire thing so that it doesn't reach the sides, because edge detect will break. About here, we'll see, we'll try it. So we'll go directly into an edge detect. You can see already it's not working. We're missing this, and I can't even fix it with tolerance. So for some reason, I needed to take down the scale. I'm not really sure why, but that just happened to be how I had to do it. So now what I want to do is put stripes that go in different directions onto each side of the cube. So I'm going to use the flood fill and flood fill mapper again for that, first of all. So we'll take this into a flood fill where we don't have to do anything, but you can see it found my 3 sides. And then what we'll want to do is create the stripes for the 3 different stripes for the different sides. So we'll use the stripe node again, and we'll take it up to 20 because we want quite a few, but we want them to be a little bit less wide, and that's about it. And then I'll transform these in 3 different ways. Okay, so actually all I'm doing is rotating. Oops. Gonna rotate something like this. Here I went for that. I'm only doing it in the exact same way as before so that the end result looks like what I already made and what I just showed basically. So yeah, so those are our 3 directions. Obviously here I didn't transform anything, but I just like that they're all aligned. So I'll leave it that way. Okay, so we'll take the flood fill and put it into a flood fill mapper grayscale. This flood fill mapper grayscale is going to take these 3 as inputs, so we need 3 places to put them in, like that. And now we want to also have control over where the stripes go, because right now we have these 2 sides that use the same stripes. So I'm going to create a grayscale map for the pattern distribution. So I'll do a flood fill to grayscale. Okay, so this is Sydney from more in the future after having spent 10 minutes trying to figure out why my flood fill wasn't actually entering 3 different colors here. I still don't know the reason, but as long as you put in the exact same settings into the cube as me, it'll work. So do that. And then we have our flood fill to grayscale with luminance at 0.23 and luminance random at 1. And there we actually have 3 different enough grayscale values. What we want to do now is we actually don't want the background. We only want the cube. So we're going to mask out again, pressing shift to move the connection up. And what we want is to mask that out. So I'm going to take a threshold here and use this as a mask. And if you don't put anything into the background, the default is just black, which is exactly what we want. So there we are. Now, this is the shape that we want to map. So we'll take this into a shape mapper. And the shape mapper, the whole idea is, once again, concentric circles. So I'll map something really big, then something smaller, and smaller, smaller, and blend them together, add them together. So basically, just be ready for 5 shape mappers. And we can do a lot of copy pasting, actually. There's not that much to change, so it'll go relatively quickly. So we want to do shape circle is fine. Pattern amount 8 is also fine. And for the first pattern, we're going to take the radius up to 1 and the width as well. So this is just filling out the outside, and we'll leave the rotation at 0. Now let's take, well, we don't really need to copy paste, but we could. So for the second one that we're going to add onto this one, we'll leave everything on the top the same as before, but now we'll take the radius down to 0.8 and the width down to 0.5. Obviously you can't exactly see what it's going to look like yet. I like to plug them all together at the end. So we'll do that. But what we're going to do to get some interesting crisscrossing is every alternating circle, pattern, mapped circle, whatever, is going to get a rotation. And we'll go to turns and go 0.067, I believe, like that. And now the next one, as I said, will not be rotated, so I'm going to copy paste with Control D the first one so that the rotation is back to the first setting. And here we're going to take the radius down to 0.5 and the width stays at 0.5 as well with rotation 0. Now once again, we switch the rotation to the second type, so Control D to take this one. And here we're going to change our radius to 0.19 with a width. The width is going to stay again. Yeah, okay. And the rotation with 0.067 like before. So we go up 1 again and duplicate 1 with rotation 0. And here we have a radius of 0 because this is going to be going from the center, and a width of 0.38. Trust me. Trust past Sydney. She's never done anything wrong, ever. Okay, now we're going to blend them all together with a bunch of additions. So we'll blend. For addition, it doesn't matter in what order we do things. So there you can see how it's doing its thing. I guess it's about as quick this way. And now we're missing the center. Boom. Okay, there we go. Now, something that already looks pretty cool, but what I did in the past was create some lines to separate it into pieces. So what I did, let's condense a little bit. I just took this entire thing and Control D to copy it. And what I did was instead of this cube as input, I took the original cube to then put it through an edge detect again. And you'll see what that looks like when I'm done here. So we have this, and we're going to put it through, as I said, an edge detect. And once we get the edge width down quite a bit and edge roundness, I think to 0 probably. Do a little bit more. You can see that it creates kind of like those mandalas that are made for drawing or for coloring. When I was a kid, I used to have coloring books with mandalas. Those were my favorite coloring books, and this kind of reminds me of that. So I'm going to take that off of that to make it look like it's in, like there's sections. So first of all, we're going to blend these two together, and since we have we want the lines to cut the white lines, we're going to use multiply mode. And so you see, this is the before and this is the after. Okay, now the next thing that kind of bothers me about this is these black spaces, because if for some reason one of these black spaces ends up being in my pattern at the end, it's just going to be black. And so I'm going to fill that in with some more stripes. The way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to cheat a little bit. I'm actually going to take this exact pattern, I'm just going to rotate it by 360 divided by 16, which will be 22.5. Oops. Okay. And then I want to align it so that striped parts can go in the black parts. And then I want to create a mask so that I'm only putting it in the black parts. And I'll do that by blurring, not a lot. And then using the histogram select, put the contrast up to 1 as per usual. And what we're looking for is the part that's all black. So we'll go all the way to the left, which would be black. And we'll take the range down as well, because we're really just trying to get these parts. Okay, so now we'll blend our original mandala with the rotated one and use the mask to let it in. So basically we have our before and our after here. Just fills it in a little bit more. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, because we're pretty much done with this, we'll just take it and warp it as per usual. And we'll do that using the dot node we already had. Gaussian 40. Obviously not like that. We'll use an intensity of 0.04. It's just a little bit. And then if you look in here, once again, you can see that there's, well, basically anti-aliasing, I guess. I don't want there to be any values that aren't black-white. So I'm going to put it through a threshold again to get this. Okay, perfect. So that was pattern. So we'll take everything here, frame it, and call it pattern. Okay, cool. Bye from the future. Get back to past Sydney, doing things correctly and stuff. Okay, pattern number 5. I'm hungry. I'm too hungry to think. No, keep at it. Pattern 5. Okay, see, look at it. This is pattern 5. Also, very simple. For this one, we will do tile random. Kapow. Kapow. With the following settings. We shall go with a 7 by 7. With squares, as one might expect. A threshold of 0.78, because past Sydney said so. And an amount of intersticement of 0.15. Perfect. Perfect. Now, we take this and we flood fill. We fill the floods. We flood the fills, and then we have the puddles. And these we use for doing more flood fill mapping. We want to fill this one up again with stripes. And the stripes are going to be stripy. We'll take stripes in there, we'll do much stripes. This. Okay, it's not that much. It's just the normal amount of strikes, but whatever, I'll take it. 0 and I rolled 14 in my past. In my past, I went with 14 shift. Yes, and the rest of the settings are correct in the same. Now, we take this, and if you look inside here, you will see that once again, it has a little bit of a gradient. Does it actually have the... Oh! Well, look at that! Okay, well, past Sydney used a threshold node. Future, current, hello, today, Sydney, will use the filtering. Hello? Oh. And I will save this project, which I should have done. How long ago? An hour ago. Perfect. Saved. Vorbildlich. German. And then I'll make another stripy stripe, and this stripy stripe is going to have slightly different settings, and those settings are going to be 30.31 and nothing else. So then we'll go into this flood fill mapper grayscale, and we'll put these two stripy wipies in here. And what we want, obviously, is, okay, maybe not obviously, but sort of obviously, is to rotate them all differently. So, scale, I think this is too extreme, so we're going to go with we're going to scale them bigger. Now, yes, 0, 0, correct, and then, as I said, we will want a rotation random, which the perfect number for this is 0.62, clearly, so we'll do that. Past Sydney is always right, except for when she uses a threshold node instead of just clicking on filtering. So, now that we have that out of the way, this is what we have. And then we will do the thing that we do every single time, which is to warp. And the warp is going to... You know what? It's going to use this one again. You know what? I should be... What is the word? Now we have it like that. Okay, so that was the step that I have to do before. And now we'll bring these two things together. And we will do that with another blend. No? Fine. I won't use the word. Whatever. It's not what I wanted. But I am exemplary. I will be exemplary, motherfuckers. I want to do the thing where you take the thing and you put it somewhere else and then you do the portal. How do you do the portal again? How does the portaling work? How do it work? I'll do it. Substance designer portal. Okay, so if I were to say here, I want to add a portal name. We deserve each other. Gaussian with like a 40 or something. Input portal. Ah! Okay, you're here. Wait a minute. I just can't remember how this works. How does it work? Ah! Okay. Okay, look at me! Look at me! Oh my goodness! Look at me! It's so exemplary! Ah, no. Oh, where are you doing this? Oh, yes, okay. Got it. Wait, how am I doing it? So freaking cool. Pow. Amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. A teensy-weensy amount of this. And then we're all warped up. Okay. And once again, the warp does this thing, which we don't want. So we're gonna, oops. Sorry. So then we're gonna threshold this mother trucker. Okay, cool. That it's like the easiest one, and now it took me like for freaking ever. Pattern. Unadulterated pattern. 5. So here we go. Things are a thinging. I'm so proud of this. You could tell that I'm super disorganized just by the fact that I'm way too excited about one dot node.